Hey everyone, Kyle Walker here. If you love cars, fixing things, or just want to understand your vehicle better, you're in the right place. I share hands-on tips, smart driving advice, and straight-up car talk without the fluff. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stick around till the end. You don't want to miss what's coming up. Let's get into it.
When choosing a new or used car, buyers pay special attention to the engine installed in the vehicle, and they are interested not only in power and torque, but also in the type of construction. Among all available and used on modern cars' engines, sometimes the most questions cause the opposition power plants. Many people have heard of opposition engines, but not everyone understands exactly what they are, what strengths and weaknesses such motors have, and where they are used. Features of oppositional engines. Before talking about the principle of operation of the oppositional engine, you need to know what this very oppositional engine means, and what features it is characterized by. Opposite motors or opposites are called a kind of power plants, which in many respects are similar to classic or traditional internal combustion engines. But, unlike other internal combustion engines used on cars, the oppositional variant has an arrangement of cylinders is not quite standard. Here they stand horizontally. A distinctive feature of such automobile motors is a non-standard angle of slave cylinder camber. It is 180 degrees. In this case, the pistons carry out their movement in the horizontal plane, being located in a mirror relative to each other. That is, these pistons reach their top dead center at the same moment, simultaneously. This nuance is considered to be the main distinctive feature of oppositional engines in comparison with more traditional or classic V-shaped internal combustion engines, where the pistons move synchronously. When one of them reaches its top dead center, the other reaches the bottom dead center. This arrangement allowed to get a low center of gravity to reduce the height of the motor itself. That is, the oppositional engine can be confidently called flat, which allows it to occupy much less space in the car under the hood. Also to the distinctive moments can be attributed the use of a pair of timing mechanisms, although the crankshaft is often still one. Among motorists, the name boxer has become popular. This name for the oppositional engine is explained by the fact that the pistons move as if into each other, that is, towards each other. At the same time, a pair of working pistons are located in the same position. For the first time, opposition engines became known back in 1938. Engineers from the German company Volkswagen made their efforts to develop a new type of internal combustion engine. At that time, they presented an opposition motor with 4 cylinders and a working volume of 2.0 liters. The maximum power of such an installation reached an impressive at that time 150 horsepower. Gradually, the opposition internal combustion engines began to spread actively. As a result, they were installed on passenger cars, sports models, motorcycles, buses, military vehicles, etc. At present, opposition units are not very popular, and there are objective reasons for this. Design and principle of operation. Studying the device of the oppositional automobile engine, it is worth noting that it differs from other internal combustion engines precisely by its structure. Here a pair of pistons carries out its movement in the horizontal plane. That is, it does not happen from bottom to top, but from left to right. Opposites always have a paired number of cylinders, and their number varies from 2 to 12. The most common motors are equipped with 4 and 6 working cylinders. If we are talking about sports cars, they are provided with 8 or 12 cylinders each. If we talk about how the opposition engine works, then here experts do not see a significant difference in comparison with traditional internal combustion engines. Only the working 6-cylinder versions have a number of distinctive features in terms of operation. The horizontal positioning of the working cylinders plays a major role here. This significantly reduces vibration and ensures smooth running. This is due to the fact that when the installed pistons move in the opposite direction relative to each other, they mutually neutralize vibrations. This ensures a smooth increase in power, and there are no strong jerks. Plus, this factor has a positive effect on the rate of wear of the motor. Opposites also have an excellent effect on the stability and quality of controllability of the car, because the used horizontal placement of cylinders allows you to install the motor closer to the car chassis. This contributes to a low center of gravity. Varieties. In many respects, the principle of operation and some design features depend on the specific type of oppositional power unit. There are several main categories of horizontal opposite engines: boxers, OROS, tank engines. Boxers have received the widest distribution in the equipment of light, civilian cars. The main user of such motors is the Japanese car company Subaru. In such an oppositional engine, the pistons are located at a certain distance relative to each other and stand opposite to each other. If the first piston is fixed at a certain distance from the axis of the motor, the second piston will occupy the same similar position. In this case, each piston is placed in its own separate cylinder in the motor. Visualizing the operation of such a motor, one can imagine a duel between two boxers, hence the corresponding name. As for other OROS-type engines, here the principle of design and the order of work, which is carried out by pistons, is somewhat different. These are two-stroke power units. One cylinder has two pistons at once, fixed on one crankshaft. In this case, the first is responsible for the inlet of the working fuel-air mixture, and the second is responsible for timely removal of the formed combustion products. The peculiarity of OROS engines is the fact that there is no head, which is usually mounted on the cylinder block. The plus of such a unit in the work of pistons only on one crankshaft. The opposite is small in size, requires less space, and has a small mass. This allowed the motor to be used in different areas and on different vehicles. OROS can operate on two types of fuel, that is, on diesel fuel and on gasoline. Its advantages should also include: the pistons travel a slightly shorter distance when performing their work, which significantly reduces the force of friction and minimizes wear; increased efficiency, which is due to the absence of harmful effects of exhaust gases on the combustion chamber. They exert pressure on the working pistons. If compared to classic engines, the weight of OROS will be 30 to 50% less. The opposition motor of this type uses a smaller number of elements. If compared with inline and V-shaped, the difference will be 40 to 50% on average. Such power units are quite economical. The design does not use a valve train system. Less space is required to accommodate the installation in the underhood of the car. Read also: what should be the frequency of oil change in the MKPP, but not everything is as rosy as it may first appear. This type of engine is at the stage of development and gradual improvement. It is too early to talk about any real and global successes, because there are a number of hidden and unforeseen problems that arise in the process of operation. Now, what about the third type of opposition engine, which is called a tank engine? This is a power plant with the marking 5 TDF. The motor was created specifically for tanks of the T64 and T72 series. The tank opposition engine has an impressive resource, since it was originally designed for installation in large military equipment. The pistons share one cylinder and move in the same direction, although each of them has its own separate crankshaft. A place for the fuel-air mixture to ignite is created by creating a minimum gap or clearance between the two installed working pistons. As with the OROS, air enters the cylinders and exhaust gases exit through the operation of the turbocharger system. Due to the counterstroke of the working pistons, the engineers managed to create a power unit that is compact in its dimensions, but impressive in its power. The maximum number of revolutions for the tank opposition engine reaches 2,000. The power of the unit is 700 horsepower. The working volume of the motor can be 6 and 13 liters. The tank opposition engine can function on gasoline and on diesel fuel. This is a domestic development, which in its time managed to impress. But at present, the TDF is no longer produced. Advantages and disadvantages. To fully disclose the features of this motor, you need to look at its strengths and weaknesses. Let's start with the most relevant advantages of oppositional engines. To its advantages can be attributed the following points. What really oppositional engine is good, so it is the best variation of location. The motor is always located low, which is much better than classic internal combustion engines. This lowers the center of gravity. This improves stability and handling. And it's also the best among the competition because it's virtually flush with the transmission. This feature makes it possible to minimize losses in torque transmission. A strong argument in favor of the opposed engine is the minimal level of vibration even when the vehicle is moving at maximum speeds. This advantage is due to the arrangement of the cylinder piston group. In this way, The engineers have created a perfect balance and have been able to guarantee effective damping of all potentially occurring vibrations. As a result, the engine runs smoothly and there is no jerk. The design features and balance made it possible to use only 3 bearings for the crankshaft instead of 5. This makes it shorter and lighter. Among all its competitors, the oppositer is the undisputed leader in terms of passive safety. Even in case of a strong frontal collision, the motor will not penetrate the interior. In case of impacts, it simply falls, without causing damage to the driver or passengers. Such a feature has managed to save more than 1,000 lives. If the opposition engine is properly maintained, regardless of the type of fuel used, the opposition engine can boast a huge resource. With a competent attitude, such an engine serves about 1 million kilometers. To achieve this result, you just need to change oil and other consumables in time, and do not subject the unit to excessive extreme loads. Although the list of advantages turned out to be impressive, the opposition engine also has its significant disadvantages. And these disadvantages can largely override all the available pluses. Expensive self-service. The owner of a car with an opposition engine will be able to perform only a number of simple procedures in the process of maintenance. Most of the work will have to be carried out with the involvement of specialists. And this is additional cost for the maintenance of the vehicle. Expensive and complicated repair. The complexity of repair provokes the growth of the cost of services. Spare parts for oppositions are rather expensive. Plus, you have to look for competent specialists. Professionals in the field of opposition motors are very few. And those who work with such power plants ask quite a lot of money for their services. Complex design. To perform certain works and change some consumables, sometimes you have to partially disassemble the engine. This is problematic and inaccessible for an inexperienced motorist. Conditional compactness. Although such motors manage to make small and place low, they still need quite a lot of space under the hood. Active oil consumption. In opposition engines, it is extremely important to monitor not only the condition, but also the amount of oil. The motor is characterized by a good appetite for lubricant. If starvation occurs, it will lead to extremely negative, serious, and costly consequences. Removable cylinder liners. The fact that they are removable is a good thing. But to replace the liners, it is necessary to carry out a number of complex measures to partially disassemble the motor. If this is not done, soon the motor will start to consume oil even more actively, which will lead to rapid failure of the entire opposition engine. There is an acute shortage of qualified craftsmen. This is one of the main problems for Russia and CS countries. Many people would be glad to buy a car with an opposition engine, but a large number of questions is caused by the fact of lack of good craftsmen. There are those who undertake to service opposites, but the quality of their work leaves much to be desired. Qualified masters are expensive, and they do not work in every city. Read also, features, advantages, and disadvantages of the TFSI motor. Opposite motors can be called internal combustion engines with excellent possibilities and bright prospects. There is still room to strive. That's why automakers, who are really interested in opposition motors, are constantly trying to come up with something new, introduce fresh ideas, and fight against objective disadvantages. Scope of application. Taking into account all the considered information, the presence of weighty advantages and objective disadvantages, a legitimate question arises as to what cars can be met with an oppositional engine. It should be fairly noted that cars are not so often equipped with oppositional motors as traditional inline or V-shaped power units. But there is one automobile company that has been successfully and actively installing such types of engines on its models for more than 50 years. And it is largely thanks to this manufacturer that the development of the segment of oppositional motors is taking place. This company is Subaru, which is based in Japan, but its cars are successfully sold all over the world. But there are several other cars and vehicles that are equipped with such power plants. We're talking about the following vehicles: some Volkswagen models, some cars from the Porsche brand, Soviet-era Ural motorcycles, Dnieper motorcycles, Icarus buses that came from Hungary. It is not necessary to speak about any global distribution of this type of engine. Although the sales volumes of the same Subaru cars with opposition power plants are impressive, recently, the oppositional motors have again attracted attention of engineers and developers. Regularly conducted research, all kinds of tests, Specialists strive to improve and modernize such engines. Moreover, a group of American specialists, whose work is financed by Bill Gates, is directly related to the finalization of OROS-type engines. It is difficult to say what will come out of all this. But the fact of interest in opposition engines hints us that soon it will be possible to solve the problem of obvious shortcomings. In this case, inline and V-type engines will have a real and serious competitor. If the opposition engine will get rid of disadvantages and keep its key advantages, it will allow to make a huge step forward. But so far everything is at the level of partial rumors, guesses, and speculations. Whether in the near future it will really be possible to significantly change the opposition motors, the question is complex. How to avoid costly repairs? Taking into account all available disadvantages, we can conclude that opposition motors are expensive and difficult to repair. The main costs are associated with the purchase of spare parts and payment for the services of repairmen. If the engine is maintained in good working condition, you will not have to spend a lot of money on it. This is the main mission of a car owner who wants to buy a car with an oppositnik, but is afraid of the potential costs of its maintenance. There are a few rules, compliance with which will allow you to get the maximum benefits and face the minimum manifestation of disadvantages. Of the oppositional type of engine. Frequency of maintenance. Strictly follow the regulations. Carry out maintenance according to the manufacturer's recommendations. In the conditions of our roads and climate, it can be slightly reduced. If the machine is operated in harsh conditions, from the stated frequency of service should be subtracted at least 15%. Qualified craftsmen. Although there are not so many experienced specialists in opposition engines, it is quite realistic to find them. Trusting your engine to a qualified technician will greatly increase your chances of long-term trouble-free operation of your opposition power plant. Careful approach to engine oil selection. Since opposites are very demanding when it comes to engine oils, you need to strictly follow the automaker's recommendations here. Choose oils that the factory advises you to use. The relevant information is specified in the instruction manual. If it is impossible to buy exactly such a brand, then focus on well-known manufacturers with a good reputation. Buy lubricant for the opposition motor only in verified stores, where there are all guarantees and quality certificates. This will avoid buying a fake. Fill up at good gas stations. This advice is relevant for all types of engine, not only for opposites. Good fuel ensures the efficient operation of the motor, increases its resource, reduces the risks of contamination. Even if you pay more for fuel than at cheap gas stations, you will still be able to save money. This will manifest itself in the form of trouble-free operation and no need to repair the engine due to the negative impact of low-quality fuel. Cooling system. Although opposition motors are equipped with a fairly efficient cooling system, even it cannot cope with excessive engine overload. Do not overload the opposition engine. And for the system itself, choose only quality consumables. Engine wash. It should be done periodically, not on a regular basis as many people might think. But even a rare engine cleaning will normalize heat dissipation and prevent overheating. Hence the long life of the engine, preserving its motor resource and the absence of problems. Do not believe the established stereotype that allegedly the operation of a car with an opposition engine is much more expensive than the maintenance of a car with a traditional internal combustion engine of inline or V-type. This is clearly seen on the example of Subaru cars. Their spare parts are relatively inexpensive. Consumables also do not cost huge sums of money. Even a person with a small income can maintain such a car. Everything directly depends on the quality of service and proper care. If the machine is competently maintained, scheduled work is carried out in time, and also not to provoke extreme overloads, the engine will not require a lot of money. Opposite motors arouse increased interest, given their strong qualities. To some extent, their disadvantages are embarrassing, but they are quite conventional. Any engine can lead to huge financial costs. This is already a question directly to the owner and his attitude to his car. In conclusion, opposite engines present a unique blend of advantages and disadvantages that make them suitable for specific applications. Their compact design and balanced operation can lead to enhanced efficiency and reduced vibrations, making them ideal for certain automotive and aerospace uses. However, challenges such as complexity in design and potential maintenance issues cannot be overlooked. As technology continues to evolve, the scope of application for opposite engines may expand, offering new opportunities for innovation in various fields. Understanding these factors is crucial for engineers and designers as they explore the future of engine technology. Thank you for watching, and we hope this discussion has provided valuable insights into the fascinating world of opposite engines.